a playoff appearance, of course. Good for the fans, good for business too. Kevin?
Yeah, absolutely. There were a lot of nervous people. First there were a lot of despondent people when Ohio State lost its last regular season game, and then we got to Friday night and the Pac-12 championship game, and that game did surprisingly really good numbers in the Columbus, Ohio ADI. I'll never really understand why, but when the dust settled, Utah beat USC, and that opened the door. And then Ohio State got even a little bit more help that I don't know if it was necessary with TCU losing to K-State. But Ohio State, the lone one-loss team standing at the end of the year. And despite the best efforts of Nick Saban and maybe a couple of TV types, Ohio State gets the call.
It was interesting to see Nick Saban on at halftime of the Big Ten championship game, using that time when the Big Ten should have been, or Fox should have been pumping up their television partner. But, I think the four ended up as they had to. Like, those were the only four that could have been in the playoffs at that point. Alabama had no argument. And, Mark, like Kevin and I were doing a live stream of the reveal. And it was so weird how they were delaying the reveal of Ohio State or of the number 4 team, because the drama to me was 3 or 4. It wasn't 4 and 5. So it was bizarre. I don't know what they were saying, what they were pumping up during the show, but like, what was taking so long to reveal that number 4 team? I didn't understand it.
Well, I think they know that the ratings are going to drop off the cliff as soon as the 4 are revealed. But I totally get your point. But yeah, there's quite a bit of a portion of college football nation out there that was either hoping or believing, fearing Alabama would be chosen and somehow make some kind of miraculous leap based on absolutely nothing that happened on the field.
Yeah, it was a crazy last few days. I think as you watched the USC game kind of unfold, and you saw that Utah was going to put it on them, you kind of eventually realized that USC was not going to finish in the top 4. And then all the speculation is, does Ohio State get in? Does Alabama get in? What happens with TCU? And there was even sentiment, when Kansas State's up 10 points in the second half, if they go on and make that like 17, does TCU drop out of the playoff? And the way it played out, where they got the game to overtime and then inexplicably, have 3rd and goal at the 1 and don't put it in the end zone on 3rd or 4th down. And, now you've just opened the door. I'm driving back from a funeral in Cleveland over the weekend and listening to it. I was about Ashland when I turned to my wife. I said, this game's over. Kansas State just needs to go 8-10 yards, kick a field goal, and, raise the trophy. And yet, even then, I couldn't reconcile in my mind how at 12-1 they would leave TCU out with an overtime loss to a team that they'd already beaten. So I think it all worked out in the end. Mark, I know you and I go back and forth on this every year. Last year, it all just locked into place. I mean, at the end, with Michigan beating Ohio State and Cincinnati beating Notre Dame, it was pretty obvious what the top 4, along with Alabama and Georgia, was last year. And this year, you could draw a line. Underneath all the teams with 0 or 1 loss, there were exactly 4 of them. And you put those 4 teams in the playoff, and everybody else can shuffle off to the Nowheresville Bowl and, have a great holiday season and start buying players for 2023.
Steve, you got me on this one. I'm not.
I got you 2 years in a row, Mark. I got you 2 years in a row. It just falls into place. And we only got 1 more year of this.
Although I don't know Cincinnati, but anyway.